गुड मॉर्निंग ऑल ऑफ़ यू। आई होप आप लोग अपनी पढ़ाई रेगुलरली कर रहे हैं। अपना ये वीडियोस भी प्रॉपरली वॉच कीजिए और अपनी प्रिस्क्राइब टेक्स्ट बुक ऑल्सो यू शुड गो थ्रू इन केस समथिंग इज़ लेफ्ट आउट, राइट? एंड I'll keep giving tests also. Practice those tests. एंड यू हैव एग्ज़ाम्स, आपके एग्ज़ाम्स आ रहे हैं मार्च में, तो अपना रेगुलरली पढ़ाई कीजिए। सो लास्ट टाइम हमने किया था फाइलम सिलेंट्रेटा, right? Today we'll do phylum Platyhelminthes. Correct. Before we move on to Platyhelminthes, I would like to tell you that there is a group which we call as helminthes, or the general name is worms. If you see these worms, you won't find any extinct form of them. इनका कोई extinct form नहीं है, because वो अपनी genetic continuity maintain करने में successful रहे हैं अभी तक, right? So helminthes, again, it is divided into two phyla. First one is phylum Platyhelminthes. Next one is Asexual. If you see, as the name indicates, platy means flat, helminthes means worms. So if you see this phylum, it particularly deals with flat worms or platyhelminthes, right? As I told you that these worms are advanced than coelenterate. Obviously, it will be having all the characteristics advanced than the previous one, and this phylum includes around 13,000 species, and the term platyhelminthes was coined by Goggenbauer in 1859. Correct. Now you'll see that we'll do the characteristics, general features. General characters or general features of phylum Platyhelminthes. Correct. Now first one is habitat. Habitat आपको पता ही है कि जो जगह वो जहाँ रहते हैं उस जगह को हैबिटेट कहते हैं, राइट? अब आप देखिए, वर्म्स जो है लिटरली दे आर फाउंड एवरीवेयर, राइट? हाउ? सी, दे कैन बी फ्रीली रह रहे हैं, राइट? दे डोंट, और दे मे बी लिविंग in somebody's body, or you can say parasitic. Free also, again, they can be aquatic, they can be terrestrial. Again, aquatic also, they can be freshwater form, or there can be marine form. So you will see these worms, platyhelminths, they are available on land also, they are available in water also, they are available in the body also, in parasitic form. We'll see the examples one by one. You see planaria, I'll just show you, enlarge it. Planaria or Dujacia, this is a free living worm, correct? Whereas if you see, this is liver fluke, it is a parasitic worm. Liver fluke is parasitic, correct? Or if you see that this among free living also, planaria, if you see, planaria is found in fresh water, right? This lives in fresh water, correct? Whereas if you see, this is convoluta. Convoluta is terrestrial. This is another worm which is found on the land. Convoluta is marine. Planaria is found in fresh water. Convoluta is marine in form. It is found in sea water or marine water, correct? Now if you see Bipalium, this is Bipalium and this is Geoplana. They both are terrestrial. Bipalia and Geoplana, they are terrestrial. They are found on the land. Correct. As I told you that these worms, they are parasitic also. So here I showed you that liver fluke. If you see, this is ectoparasite. In parasite also they are ectoparasitic and endoparasites. So here if you see that these flukes, they can be ectoparasite. Another example of ectoparasite, if you see this is Gyrodactylus, which is again an ectoparasitic worm. Right, this is Diplozoan. Can you see? This is again an ectoparasitic worm. Correct. Or they can be endoparasitic like Schistosoma. Schistosoma is an endoparasitic worm. Again, this is Fasciolopsis. This is also an endoparasitic worm. Correct. So this way if you see, they are found everywhere, whether in the parasitic form or whether in the free form. They have habitat in every corner of the earth. Second characteristic is body size. Body size, if you see, they can be microscopic, or they can be as long as 18 meters in length. I'll just show you. Just see, this is Diphyllobotrium. This worm is around 18 meters long. Correct. So this is the largest worm and this is the most pathogenic tapeworm. Correct. Now we come to the third characteristic, that is if you see body form. Body form, if you see, as I told you initially also, that they are all dorsoventrally flattened. Correct. Even if they are dorsoventrally flattened, body can be, if you see, it can be unsegmented, लीफ लाइक, जैसे अभी मैंने देखा था लिवर फ्लूक दिखाया था आपको. I'll show you once again also. Or if you see, the body can be segmented. Correct. Segmented में if you see, there can be few segments, as in Echinococcus. If you see, there are 3 to 4 segments in the neck region, that is strobila. Correct. जैसे कि टेप वर्म में कितने सेगमेंट है, देयर आर अराउंड 850 to 1000 सेगमेंट्स, और हर एक सेगमेंट को क्या कहा जाता है, प्रोग्लॉटेड, एक ये साइंटिफिक टर्म है. और इसी तरह मैंने अभी आपको दिखाया था जो डाइफाइलोबोथ्रियम, इसमें इफ़ यू सी डाइफाइलोबोथ्रियम में, अभी आई जस्ट शोड यू द डायग्राम, देर आर अराउंड 3000 to 4000 proglotted. I'll just show you. Just see, it has got this is Diphyllobothrium. It has got around 3000 to correct. Now next characteristic, if you see, organization. बॉडी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन थी यहाँ. are not creating some cavity. The space in the body organ, it is filled up with a mesodermal connective tissue called mesenchyme. तो जो स्पेस है वो किससे भरी हुई है, फिल्ड अप है मीजनकाइम से या पैरेनकाइम से. इसीलिए हम इनको, इन एनिमल्स को ट्रिप्लोब्लास्टिक भी कहते हैं. ट्रिप्लोब्लास्टिक क्यों? एक्टोडर्म और एंडोडर्म तो पहले से ही है, करेक्ट. इसके अलावा मीजनकाइमल सेल्स हैं विच आर मीजोडर्मल इन ओरिजिन. सो यू सी ऑल द 3 जर्मिनल लेयर्स आर प्रेजेंट. इसीलिए हम इसको कहेंगे कि ये एनिमल्स जो हैं वो ट्रिप्लोब्लास्टिक हैं, करेक्ट. नेक्स्ट कैरेक्टरिस्टिक इफ यू सी is cephalization. What is cephalization? Cephalization means formation of head has occurred. How here, formation of head has occurred? Here you will see that there is aggregation of neuron forming brain. So there are 2 ganglia, correct, at anterior end, and this anterior end has got few sense organs also like eye. So this you can say accumulation of neurons and sense organ at one particular end, that is the anterior end of the body, leads to the formation of head, which we call as cephalization, correct. Now next characteristic if you see is body wall. You know that there were 2 forms, free living forms and parasitic forms. In free living forms, if you see, the body is externally covered, particularly the ventral surface is covered by single layered cuboidal cells, or you can say these cuboidal cells are ciliated. So there is ciliated epidermis on the ventral side, correct. And if you see, whereas in parasitic forms, you know that they live in the body of the host, so here epidermis is not present. The body is externally covered by a cuticular layer which we call as tegument, correct. And if you see here, the tegument is produced into structures which we call as spines, and these spinnules, they help in clinging onto the body of the host, correct. Apart from this, there is a well developed musculature. Well developed musculature in the sense there is a longitudinal layer of muscles below in body wall, there is circular layer of muscles, and there are oblique muscles present in the body wall, correct. Now the next characteristic if you see is skeleton. These animals, they do not have skeleton, they are soft bodied. If at all some skeleton is present, that is present, and that is due to the presence of fluid which we call as hydraulic skeleton, correct. Apart from this, there may be hooks or spinnules which I just discussed now, which are little hardened part, otherwise they do not have any skeleton, correct. Now next characteristic is adhesive structures. See, parasitic forms, since they live in the body of the host, they need to have certain adhesive structures or certain organs of attachment. See, these organs of attachment, if you see, or you can say these, adhesive structures, if you see, they are different in different animal. I'll just show you, I'll just say these, adhesive structures are either in the form of suckers or spinnules, as I told you previously also, so that they cling onto the body of the host, or there can be hooks correct? Or there can be anchors, or there is a structure which we call as bothria. I'll show you all of them one by one, which is present in Diphyllobotrium. If you see, this is fasciola hepatica, diagrammatic representation of liver fluke. You see that there is oral sucker present around the mouth. There is posterior sucker, correct, present on the posterior surface of the body wall, so that with the help of sucker, and with the help of oral and posterior sucker, they stick onto the surface of the host body. Another thing, you see, these are the spinnules present in the body of the liver fluke, right? These spinnules also, they help in piercing into the body of the host, so that they don't get moved away along with the moving fluid of the body, correct? Same way, if you see, this is gyrodactylus, and if you see this structure, if you enlarge it, you'll find suckers, anchors and hook on these surfaces on the ventral side, correct? Same way, this is diplozoon. This diplozoon, if you see, it is an ectoparasite. You will see, just see, there are suckers present, 4 suckers. These are the 4 suckers, and you see these are suckers present in diplozone. Just see, these are the suckers, correct? Now, if you see that this is tinea solium, this is head of tinea solium, correct? Now you see the head of tinea solium, it has got 4 sucker. These are 1, 2, 3, another on the ventral side, and these are the hooks, rostellar hooks present around the mouth. There are rostellar hooks, and there are 4 suckers present in tinea soli, correct? Now you see that this is Diphyllobotrium, correct? If you see in Diphyllobotrium, these are 2 bothria. बोथ्रिया क्या होते हैं? ग्रूव लाइक स्ट्रक्चर्स होते हैं, 2 ग्रूव लाइक स्ट्रक्चर है, और वो ग्रूव लाइक स्ट्रक्चर से दे अटैच ऑन द बॉडी ऑफ द होस्ट, correct? So this way, if you see, there are, you'll find that various organs are there for the attached, adhesive structures are there to attach on the surface of the or body of the host. Next characteristic is gut. As I told you, that they have blind sac plan. That means they have alimentary canal, but that alimentary canal is incomplete, correct? For example, tinea. In case of tinea solium, since it lives in the body of the host, here you'll find that in case here gut is not at all present. It is absent, altogether absent, right? In another animals, rest of the animals, they have incomplete alimentary canal, correct? Now if you see, just say, I'll just draw in case of liver fluke. If you see, they have pharynx, they have esophagus, then they have intestine like this. I'll show you the diagram also. They have bifurcated intestine, that's all. Here the alimentary canal is ending. In some of the animal, if you see, there is pharynx which is protrusible. This pharynx comes out of the mouth, takes the digested food in and brings back, right? So there is no intestine in that case, because it is taking in the digested food material. I'll just show you. See, this is the alimentary canal of this thing, alimentary canal of liver fluke. If you see that, I'll just show you that this is the mouth, correct? This is esophagus, and this is esophagus, this is pharynx, and just see, this is the, I'm just drawing bifurcated, can you see? Bifurcated intestine like this. There is no anus, there is no large intestine. Correct? Here, in case of planaria, although here the spelling is wrong, planaria, if you see, pharynx is simple, uh, just a tube-like structure, but it is an irreversible structure, right? So, this is the mouth. Mouth leads into the pharynx, and from the pharynx, why they have written mouth and anus? Because mouth act as anus only. Mouth pharynx is protruded out. It is protruded out to take the digested food in. Same way, if you see that this is microstoma, just see here the pharynx is bulbous. It is bag like structure, so we call it as bulbous pharynx. Correct? Now this way, if you see the alimentary canal, it is incomplete, and whatever parts are there, only very few parts, the interior parts are present. Now next is respiratory and excretory system. Since most of the organisms, they are parasitic, so they can be aerobic or they can be anaerobic. Free worms, they are aerobic, and the parasitic worms, they are anaerobic. It's as simple as that. And respiration and if you see will take respiration occur through general body surface. Correct? Now we'll take another system, that is excretory system. Right? You know that whether they're parasitic or free living, their waste material is ammonia, so they are ammonotelic in excretion. Right? Excretion mainly occur through a specialized cells, or you can say through protonephridia. Here the protonephridia is known as flame cells. Correct? Now what are flame cells? I'll just show you that. If you see it is just a modification of cell, which is something like this, and here it will show the outer end of the cell has got cytoplasmic processes like this. Correct? Here this is the nucleus, and these are the basal granules. From these basal granules arises what? These are the cilia. A cavity is found like this, and here there are various vacuoles. See, these vacuoles, if you see that these are the water vacuoles which contains excretory waste material, which pour their content, and these contents by beating of the cilia are poured into this capillary duct, and from this capillary duct, if you see through there is an opening which we call as excretory pore, and through these excretory pore the capillary duct open into the body wall through excretory pore, and the nitrogenous waste material is given out. Right? So this is nucleus. This is the diagram of flame cell. Flame cell is a protonephridia, which is the excretory unit in Platyhelminthes. These are vacuoles, these are cilia, right, and these are cytoplasmic processes. Correct? They are ammonotelic in excretion. Now we come to the next system, that is nervous system. insinuate, diffuse type of nervous system was there. Here, if you see, as I previously, it was told that cephalization has occurred in Platyhelminthes. So here you will see that there are two neurons on the anterior end joined together by commissure. Then there are two nerve cord, ventral nerve cord, joined together by various commissures like this. Right, these ganglia, they give nerves forward to the various sense organ present on the head, and they also, the ventral nerve cord also supplies this way to the various organ all around its body. So if you see, this is this type of nervous system, if you see, this is known as ladder like nervous system. Correct. So if you see, the here it is formed of brain, this is brain, and nerve cord. There are two longitudinal nerve cord joined together by commissures. Correct. Now, next characteristic is sense organs. See, usually what happens is that sense organs are poorly developed in parasitic forms, and particularly endoparasitic form, because why we need to have sense organs? Right, we need to have sense organ to sense about our surroundings. Since they are safely present in the body of the host, sense organs are poorly developed in parasitic form, and in free living forms, if at all they are there, the sense organs are of primitive type. राइट जैसे कि जो फ्री लिविंग फॉर्म है उनमें स्टैटोसिस्ट है, या जैसे प्लानेरिया में आइज है, जैसे मैंने देखा था ना, ये इस तरह प्लानेरिया होता है, तो यहाँ पर दो आइज है, दैट्स ऑल, और कोई सेंस ऑर्गन दे डू नॉट हैव. Next characteristic is reproduction and development. Reproduction, if you see, it shows both sexual reproduction as well as asexual reproduction. In case of sexual reproduction, if you see, generally these worms are bisexual. Another name for bisexual is monoecious, or you can say hermaphrodite. That means the single individual bears both the types of systems, male as well as female reproductive system. Both systems, when they are present in one body, we call such individuals as bisexual, monoecious, or hermaphrodite. Right? Where they have gonads, gonoduct, and various other accessory organs are present in this case, except order Acela, where these mesenchyme cells, they act as sex cells, or you can say gametes. Otherwise, rest of the worms or platyhelminths, they are bisexual. Correct? They have well developed reproductive system. And if you see eggs, since they have well developed, eggs have zygote, and this zygote is surrounded by yolk. There are certain vitelline glands present in the reproductive system, and these vitelline glands, they secrete yolk around the zygote, and then later on they are covered by capsule. Correct? So if you see these egg capsules, they have zygote, and this zygote is covered by yolk. Such type of egg is known as ectoleucithal. Why? Because the zygote is covered by yolk all around it, and that is why it is known as ectoleucithal. If you see, as far as fertilization is concerned, fertilization, if you see, it is always internal. Correct? Although internal, here both cross fertilization as well as self fertilization, both are prevalent in worms. Correct? Now, if you see, now we come to the, you know, asexual part. This was the sexual part. We come to, okay, before we come to asexual, we talk about development. Now development, if you see, it can be direct. जैसे प्लेनेरिया में है, जो यंग वन है वो अडल्ट प्लेनेरिया से मिलता है, बट इट इज स्मॉलर इन साइज, इट ग्रोज इनटू अ फुल ग्रोन प्लेनेरिया. But there is prominent indirect development also. That means they undergo different larval stages. Correct. जैसे कि फैस्कुला हेपेटिका या लिवर फ्लूक है. It, you'll be surprised that it undergoes 5 larval stages. यानी कि one larval stage will give rise to another larval stage, it will give rise to another larval stage. So here you will see that they are, I'll just mention also, from the egg comes out Miracidium larva. Miracidium larva will give rise to sporocyst larva. Sporocyst larva will give rise to Redia larva. Redia will give rise to Cercaria larva. Cercaria larva will give rise to Metacercaria larva. Correct. Whereas this was about Fasciola hepatica. 5 larval stages are there. Whereas in case of Taenia solium, in tapeworm, there are 2 larval stages. These larval stages are hexacanth and cysticercus. Correct. Life cycle may be monogenetic. That means their whole life can be completed in one host. जैसे कि डिप्लोजोन है, अभी मैंने जो आपको इसकी पिक्चर भी दिखाई थी. डिप्लोजोन जो है मोनोजेनेटिक है, जबकि फैस्क्यूला हिपैटिका क्या है, डाइजेनेटिक है. राइट. इसके दो होस्ट. राइट. नाउ इफ यू सी that जैसे sheep and man, fascicular hepatica के, there can be organisms which are trigenetic, जिनकी लाइफ हिस्ट्री जो है 3 होस्ट में कंप्लीट होती है. एक वर्म है जिसका नाम है ओपिस्थोरकिस, which is trigenetic. Correct. So if you see that this way they pass through, they have their development can be direct or indirect. If it is indirect, it can be multiple larval stage. Now we come to asexual reproduction. Asexual part. Now in asexual reproduction, if you see, transverse fission is very common in Deuteracia or Planaria. I'll just show you the picture. Just see, this is Planaria. If if a transverse cut is made, it is divided into 2 parts. Upper part will give rise to lower part, and lower part will give rise to the anterior part. So this see from one individuals, 2 Planaria is formed. Even if you make an incision at the anterior end, both the incised end will develop into 2 heads. So you can see that this fission, transverse fission, is very common in Planaria. Correct. Now if you see that in Microstoma, this way, due to the transverse fission, if you see, long chain of new individual is formed, and this chain is known as paratony. Correct. And if you see in some tapeworm, जैसे अकाइनोकोकस है, अकाइनोकोकस में 2 बर्डिंग होती है. बर्डिंग भी 2 तरह की, एंडोजिनस बर्डिंग एंड एक्सोजिनस बर्डिंग. एंडोजिनस बर्डिंग, if you see, it is formed inside, these birds are formed inside the body. And exogenous body में if you see, the birds are found outside the body. और ऐसा लगता है जैसे कैंसर लाइक ग्रोथ होगी. And each individual bud give rise to full echinococcus. Correct. Now, if you see that another is parthenogenesis. You know what is parthenogenesis? Development of individual without fertilization. So, if the parthenogenesis is another type of asexual reproduction. Polyembryony is another, you can say that this is also commonly found. Polyembryony यानी कि एक एम्ब्रियो से, या यू कैन से एक जाइगोट से मल्टीपल एम्ब्रियो जो फॉर्म होते हैं, वी कॉल इट एज पॉलीएम्ब्रियोनी. सो जाइगोट इज फॉर्म्ड बाय सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन, बट various embryos formed from zygote, that is polyembryon, is asexual reproduction. Correct. Now another characteristic feature, if you see, in case of worms, Platyhelminthes, is regeneration. If you see, they have very high power of regeneration. Here the type of regeneration is morpholactic regeneration. What do you mean by morpholactic? Even if you cut the body into various fragments, each fragment will give rise to full individual. Or you can say a body part, even a small body part will give rise to full individual. Such type of regeneration is known as morpholactic regeneration. So you can say regeneration is the type of asexual reproduction also. करेक्ट. जैसे मैंने प्रीवियस एग्जांपल में दिखाया था ना कि जैसे ये ड्यूजेशिया है, आप इवन यहाँ से भी कट करोगे ना तो ये लोअर पार्ट डेवलप हो जाएगा, लोअर पार्ट विल डेवलप द एंटीरियर पार्ट. सो यू कैन से द वेरियस फ्रेगमेंट विल गिव राइज टू दीज मैनी इंडिविजुअल्स. सो मच हाई लेवल ऑफ रीजनरेशन इज देयर, so much so that it has become a type of asexual reproduction. करेक्ट. आई होप आपको इसके वेरियस जो कैरेक्टर्स हैं वो समझ में आए होंगे. जस्ट टू हैव अ रिकैपिचुलेशन, इफ यू सी what are the points we did is that these are the first animals which show bilateral symmetry. Correct. They are triploblastic because all the three germinal layers are present. Here if you see body organization, it is organ system organization. Correct. Now if you see their body can be ribbon like, जैसे कि टीनिया सोलियम में दिखाया था. Their body can be leaf like, जैसे कि fascicula hepatica में दिखाया था. Their body can be unsegmented, जैसे कि ड्यूजेशिया में है, or it can be segmented. Correct. Apart from this, if you see that there is a presence of I just forgot to discuss about circulatory system. If you see in case of Platyhelminthes, there is no circulatory system, but they have a tissue which we call as parenchyma. This parenchyma, it consists of mesenchyme cells, and these cells, if you see, they act as circulatory cells. They transfer the stored food material or even the digested food material throughout the body. Correct. So if you see, this presence of parenchyma is again a characteristic feature which is present in visceral organs. So because this parenchyma is present, there is no space left or no cavity formed. They are also acoelomate. Correct. Excretion occur by flame cells or protonephridia. Correct. Now they have ladder type of nervous system. Alimentary canal was either it was absent or it was incomplete. Correct. Another characteristic feature was that there was presence of yolk producing gland which we call as vitelline glands, which surrounds all around the zygote to form actolacethal types of eggs. I think with this you are clear with different characteristic feature of phylum